Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the WCS America qualifiers. I'm here with Shamtu, in fact, not Axel Toss, a little bit of a switcheroo here.
I just, randomly transformed into a different person.
Yep.
It happens all the time.
So we're doing a little bit of rotation, giving everyone a break. We're about to get into Sasquatch versus Heart. This is a losers round 9 match, I believe. Game number 1 is going to be on Neo Planet S. And what do you think about these players?
Well, Sasquatch is actually a friend of mine. He's from the New York City area, so, given that we're in New York City, we're pretty familiar with him.
Yeah.
And Hart, I mean, I've seen him in so many online tournaments, casted him myself way back in the day, and he's always been one of my favorite Terran players to watch.
Hart, of course, a very, very good Terran player from Team Axiom. We had Total Bisc on yesterday casting some of his teammates. They've been continuing their domination of this bracket. Hart fell to Apocalypse in the winner bracket, but he's been Terran to the loser bracket up here against Sasquatch. The map is Neo Planet S. And over here at the top right, we have Axiom's Hart.
Yeah, Hart, a great player, and I'm really anxious to see what his strategy is in TVZ. I haven't actually seen him in a while. But down here in the bottom left-hand corner from Complexity, it is Sasquatch.
So, I haven't seen that many Neo Planet S games in this tournament yet.
That's actually a really good point. I think we've only seen a handful at most, and it's one of those really interesting games for TVZ. You have a lot of opportunities from dropping between the main and the third base, and I really hope that Hart's going to be taking a lot of advantage of that, making Sasquatch run back and forth. But of course, Sasquatch himself is going to have the opportunity to go very heavy mutas if he really wants to. Use that mobility the same way that Hart would.
Definitely. We've seen a lot of videos on this map. One of the key things about this map, before I get into that, opening up with a gas. So probably give you that Reaper opening. In fact, given the fact that the Barracks is proxied here at the bottom, almost surely going to be Reaper opening. And with Heart's control, that can be very, very devastating.
And that's a nice little corner back there. No drone's going to go scout out the third base this early.
Definitely. Sasquatch, of course, going hatchery first. Hatchery first was pretty much the only opening you saw Zergs do in Wings of Liberty, because if you don't go hatchery first, 2 racks, which is very popular, it would be very difficult to stop without being able to build that spine crawler by the creep on the low ground. But I have seen some Zergs use pull first or even speedling before expansion in Heart of the Swarm because of the threat of these early Reapers.
And also because of the fact that a lot of Terrans have been going for a little bit more one-base type builds here and there. The speedling gives them so much map control and is able to deny those Hellions before they really start taking control, and allows Zerg to grab a lot of really extra econ that, it's not too often when Terran go for a quick 2-base.
Yeah, not unless you're looking to flash or something like that, of course. Hart, though, looking for that very early proxy Reaper. No bunker as of yet, so just going to be Reaper harass. That means he wants to expand behind it a little bit faster. Sasquatch keeping close eyes over Hart's expansion with this Overlord. The first Reaper is now entering the base. How much damage will it do? Is Sasquatch's drone micro up to the task?
Well, he's got a couple of Zerglings starting up, but it's only 2. The Queen is going to be really key here. The Reaper is doing so much damage, though. How many kills has it gotten already? I think only 3. A nice little extractor save with that last drone.
Yeah, 1 drone dying right before it can make the extractor. The second drone is able to get into that extractor. Reaper, though, I think is happy. He's gotten 1 kill, but he's forced some lost mine time. And it's really when the second and third Reaper join that the real damage can start. They start tearing down units so fast.
Those poor little Zerglings, they just don't know what to do. They don't have the heart to take him out. And here he goes with the Reapers once again. Beautiful micro taking back the guy who is hurt. And he's going to go right back in there and just keep harassing the Queen. Now finally up, going to ward off those Reapers for now. The Natural is finished up, and so is the Natural Queen. Well, in a second. Hold on. A little bit ahead of myself here.
That's all good. These 2 Reapers are waiting for the more veteran Reaper to heal up. Once you get 3 Reapers is when you can really start picking at those Queens. Of course, Sasquatch hasn't started Zerging speed it, so these Reapers will have total map control for quite a while longer. Hart is, again, expanding behind us, getting a factory with the reactor. His Barracks, he's actually getting a 4th Reaper out of this Barracks, so he's really going to want to put on a lot of pressure.
Really love the positioning of that other Queen, keeping command of that ledge, and that's going to really take those Reapers really just only to attack the Natural, and that's exactly what Sasquatch is going to want to focus on here, is defending just the Natural alone, so he doesn't have to run his Zergling back and forth. And there's that Queen just trying to pick away, but starting to take a lot of damage.
Second queen coming back, and this queen actually has enough energy for a transfuse, which could be very, very useful on that first Hurricane queen. It's really a game of how fast can the Reapers regenerate and get back into action versus how fast can the Zerg progress up to speeding, progress up to more queens and Zerglings. The Reapers are back in the main, they're picking off one drone. Not able. Yeah, they were able to get two.
No creep spread between the natural and the main base either, so those queens are going to be extra slow, waddling their way over there. There goes another couple of salvos on that one queen at the natural, and just keeping them, all of them hurt. And of course, with the Reaper regen, the Reapers will regen way quicker than the Zerg, just general regeneration that they have. And now the Hellions starting to join in. This pressure from Heart is abominable.
Is very, very vicious, and one thing to keep note is Hart's third command center is finishing up right now, so it's not like he needs to end the game now. This is just pressure to keep Sasquatch from joining up freely, to prevent the third base from going down, and also to get any free kills he can. If you look at units lost, it's 0 to 7, and that's because the Reapers are just so fast and they regenerate their life.
And not only that, but behind this, Hart is also grabbing more command centers, more technology, so he's just using a small minimal amount of forces to really keep Sasquatch at bay. Sasquatch just about halfway done with his lair, though, so I'm going to be a little bit scared. He's got a lot of gas going out. I'm going to expect to see a whole bunch of mutas probably as soon as that lair finishes up and goes into a spire.
This fast of a lair does probably indicate muta play, especially considering there aren't any early upgrades for his ground units. Hart, meanwhile, is starting his 2 engineering base. Actually, no, it's going to be onto speed roaches. The range attack is underway. Roach Horn is being produced. It may even be some type of Nidus play, but can he even get to lair?
The one queen gets away with just a fractional amount of health. Here comes a whole bunch of speedlings. They are going to be able to take out 1 or 2 of those Reapers, but the Hellions just far too many to deal with. Once those Roaches come out, he's going to be able to ward off this play, but until then, he's still completely trapped in his own natural.
He's pretty much at the mercy of Hart here as Hart just keeps putting more and more damage on. This queen wanders out, but it's so low on life. What does Sasquatch have to fend this attack off? I feel he's got to get some Roaches on the field fast because the Zerglings aren't just cutting it.
Oh, and there goes the queen, finally getting roasted, and here comes a whole bunch of Zergling getting completely roasted themselves. There's just nothing out here to really help out Sasquatch. He's just feeding so many units into this machine of death.
This is really
fire.
A total Zerg graveyard in front of the natural here. One Roach walks out, but he can't do it alone. He's going to go down as well. More Roaches in production once those Roaches complete. Oh, but the Widow Mines are coming in as well, and there's no detection here for Sasquatch.
There is an Overseer now being morphed in, but this is just a song of fire and bullets as these Reapers and Hellions are taking on Roaches without a problem. Now the Roach is finally going to push them away. Sasquatch finally going to have a chance to take a breather and get himself in control of this match, hopefully.
But well, he now has a breather, but Hart's had a breather for the last 8 minutes.
Exactly.
Cranking up his macro like a total machine. Starport's on the way. Third CC's been there for a while. Upgrades are nearing completion.
And look at all of the barracks is going up. He's just going straight on into that macro mode that he's been buying himself with all of this pressure. And once he gets into that, we're going to start seeing a whole bunch of drops coming out. We have so many reactors going down. But that Roach push, here comes that Roach push.
Overseer there to help spot for Widow Mines. They still do a good amount of damage to these Roaches. There's only a single bunker at the moment. Hart really hasn't had a chance to produce too much. Those initial heroes of the harass, the Corporal Hellions there, they're going to be taken out, but they buy enough time that I think Hart's production is kicking in now. Sasquatch cannot break this line.
Yeah, there's no way that he can, but he can at least stop a third base from going up and getting Hart, allowing Hart to get a lot of econ ahead of Sasquatch. Meanwhile, Sasquatch himself grabbing his own third base. But until then, this bunker, he's going to try and focus it down, do some damage, but he's just losing so many Roaches. I'm not sure that was the greatest of ideas.
Oh, I don't think he realized about those 4 Widow Mines behind the bunker. Those took a big chunk out of the Roach force. Changeling even dying as it flails his arms before he collapses into a little black pile of goo there.
What are changelings made out of?
Are
they made of hopes and dreams?
They may be. No, I think they're made of like evil thoughts and sins. They're made of sins.
Is it because they're Zerg and we're both a Protoss and a Terran?
Yes.
A little bit of bias. A little bit of bias here. Food supply count really not too bad. Hart is ahead by 20. But that's definitely not a place that Sasquatch really wants to be. Hopefully with this third base, he can start really churning out a lot more units, start droning up and get that econ advantage, as Hart himself actually taking his own third base now.
He is. The tricky part for Sasquatch is going to be dealing with the upgraded, highly produced army of Hart. He's got all his production set up now. He's got 1-1 upgrades done. He's starting his second attack. I assume the armor should be following that very shortly. Whereas Sasquatch, he has the one Roach attack, but he's going to be transitioning into Speedling, Baneling, Mutalisk, and he doesn't have any upgrades quite yet for those units, just working on the 1/1 for the ground now.
Yeah, that's a very weird synergy that he went for, since he already got the +1, and now he's going to change gears almost completely, going for the +1 on melee and +1 on carapace. With Mutas behind this, the ranged weapons doesn't really make too much sense here, but I'm sure he can make it work, just keeping out a couple more Roaches than he would normally have.
I wonder if he ever really even intended to get the Roaches, or if that was a desperation move, given how much pressure Hart put on in that opening.
You know, I would have liked to see a couple more Spine Crawlers in that initial aggression. I think that would have helped ward off, since Reapers no longer do that detonation charge or satchel charge that they used to do back in Wings of Liberty that used to do a lot of extra damage to buildings.
Hart's starting to initiate that draw play you were talking about earlier. Meanwhile, of course, he's using these Widow Mines to detect any potential counterattacks from the Zerg along this back passageway. Sasquatch is doing the same thing with Overlords, making sure no one sneaks into his third base without him noticing.
Those Overlords are absolutely hideous. I mean, I thought a normal Overlord was pretty bad looking, but those guys just, ugh. Weird little spines everywhere. Here comes a nice little push from Hart with a lot of Widow Mines. He's going to be gaining a lot of map control. There's going to be a little bit of a faster push than normal. But here is also a nice little drop, doing a little bit of damage. The Speedlings do come in and keep it away. Mutalisk's in actually a very small number.
Yeah, I think Sasquatch has been really strained to get out the units he wants. He was on 2 bases for so long. Doesn't really have the gas income that ideally he'd have. And while the drop's distracting Sasquatch over here on the left side, the right side, there's another army pushing through. With all these Widow Mines, if he can force the battle into a very small choke that Banelings have to run through, it's going to be ideal situation for Hart. His 2-2 is finishing up too. This is a really good timing if he can delay until those 2-2 finish. I think the attack at least will finish before the battle begins.
Positively amazing timing, and here comes a couple of those Zergling. They're going to get taken out by those Widow Mines, but there is a counterattack on the other side of this force. A whole bunch of Zergling, and Roach is doing a nice pincer maneuver. The Mutas now coming in, but is it enough? It looks like it will be, with the Roaches underneath those the Mutaflock. We'll be able to tank enough damage to make this fight.
The one Marauder scares everything off. Of course, they're really running back to deal with the draw play. That Marauder wasn't quite as scary as he thought he was. A nice Widow Mine and Marine drop. Look at the kills on these Widow Mines. One of them's a Corporal, the other one just still a Recruit.
How is a robot a Corporal? That's my question.
That's a good question. Maybe there's someone controlling it with a little remote control in the background.
That's
radio controlled.
Totally true. That's got to be the most boring job. You have to recharge every 3 minutes. Because, all right, I did my attack. I'll be back, guys. I'm going to take a coffee break.
Yeah, gives room for those breaks. Another little attack here. No drilling claws, so the Widow Mines take a little bit longer to land than Hart would have liked, but they still do the job clearing up those Speedlings.
So many Speedlings. There's blood all over that ramp. It's just going to be very slippery for those Marines to walk up. But they look like they don't have any problem as they are pushing in. And there's the GG. Axiom Hart taking game number 1. What a strong play from him.
Yeah, really impressive play from Hart, showing why he's on one of the top teams of Axiom, trained there in their house. Very, very, very good play coming from him. Will Sasquatch be able to find a way to come back? I think the key is going to be holding off that early pressure that Hart does.
That early pressure was really kind of putting the nail in the coffin in the very beginning of the game. It was very hard for Sasquatch to keep on, but I mean, he did do a pretty good job of holding it off long enough to get somewhat well. I think a couple of those unlucky Widow Mine hits really just kind of turned the tide of the battle a little bit too early for him.
They definitely did. We'll find out if he can take game 2 after a short break.